Hi, I'm Brina.
And I'm Dee Dee.
And we're Mighty Moms to Owen and Tad, who are both on the autism spectrum.
We're going to share real, honest content and experiences
About what it's like to be a mom of a kiddo on the autism spectrum.
Between the two of us,
There
is
is
nothing
nothing
we haven't experienced.
We don't hold back, and neither should you.
Here we go.
Welcome to episode 8 of Mighty Moms Podcast. I'm Brina.
And I'm Dee Dee.
And we're here to
Pump
you up. We just can't not do it.
I know.
It's a
It's
thing.
embedded in our
It's a
brains
thing
now.
So yeah, if you watched last episode 7, we had Desiree on, and that was really exciting because we talked about a new program that's coming to the Texoma area, which is All Stars Club, allstarsclub.org. So if you have not registered your child yet, please do so because,
Yeah, and check them out. They're also on Facebook, All Stars Club, and you can...
It's a respite. It's basically a kids' night out for kids with autism and special needs. They can come to this event at North Park Church in Sherman, and you can have a couple hours to go eat dinner or do some shopping or whatever it may be.
Or volunteer if you're...
Or you can volunteer.
If you want to hang out with your kid. But hopefully there'll be more in our area more often.
And they're going to be super prepared, which is awesome. But,
yeah.
But
They have
you
a full
can hear,
medical staff, everything on.
which is awesome.
Yep.
That's cool.
It's great.
So, but today we're going to talk about meltdowns. Our favorite topic.
Meltdowns. So I'm trying to think. I know Tad has had some, but he's been easy to redirect.
Whew.
I know other people struggle with those.
Oh, my God.
We have our own sound effects. So tell us about some meltdowns. I've heard horror stories.
Chad is a sweetheart, so.
I'm not saying he's never done.
But he's older now, and he's worked. It's not like, I think he probably had some when
He
he was
did.
younger.
He
It's just not
did.
as fresh on your mind. Because,
No, he did. And he cried and cried and
Yeah.
cried.
And Owen had some really bad ones when he was a toddler.
It's just, I feel like it's the communication barrier.
He's 8 now, so they're not as bad. But it is, because especially when they're nonverbal, and I'm not saying people who have kids who are verbal, like theirs can't be as bad. I just know from my own experience talking about Owen, his are bad because I'm telling you 9 out of 10 times when he has a meltdown, it is because he is frustrated that we aren't understanding what he
Yeah.
needs or wants. And I get that.
I can't imagine a
Yeah.
world like that. I really...
And on top of him being frustrated about that, he doesn't understand why we don't know.
Right. You should
He doesn't.
know. Yeah.
He just doesn't. He doesn't have the cognitive ability yet to understand why we don't know what he wants, and then he just gets mad. You know.
Yeah.
So imagine
And he doesn't
not,
know how to keep those feelings
Yeah.
at a level.
Yeah. And so again, and I'm not trying to, like, ABA therapy has been life-changing for us because they've taught him how to regulate his emotions to an extent. I'm not saying like he's perfect all the time. Like if he gets upset and it's like toward bedtime, it's going to be.
Yeah.
So, like, you know, we know that, like, especially in the evening hours, to try to, like, neutralize situations as opposed to
Fight.
reprimanding him.
Pick your battles at a
Yes.
certain time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I get that.
You know, our oldest son, Carter, who is not on the spectrum, he was such a good kid. But when he was a toddler, he had 2 I remember them very distinctive, like these meltdowns that he had where I was like, I'm not in control of this child. And they were both in public places. And one of the times I was by myself with him, and I was like, how am I going to, like, get him in the car?
Right.
And I couldn't even get him to sit in his car seat. Like, it was that I literally had to finally just get him in the car and shut the door.
Yeah.
Lock the door and get in. It looked like I was trying to steal him out of a because we were shopping, and it was just like I was just like, just get in the car, and it's and it was kind of odd too, because I don't even know what set him off. It was one of those things where it just was out of nowhere. And then I'm like, I look back on that now and I'm like, was that preparing me for Owen? Because that's most of the time I don't
children
know.
have meltdowns as well.
Right.
I mean, they learn how to cope with that
Yep.
later. But I do remember Tad's meltdowns. When he had them, he was always had an ear infection.
Really?
And so I don't know if he was just like, it's too much.
Exhausted
I can't
and
deal with
feeling
this.
bad and
I do remember crying all night long. And
Yeah.
I just know, like, I was going to get him. I'd get him in the car at 7 in the morning. I drive
Yeah.
to Sherman at Dr. Lipscomb's office because I know he's got an
Yeah.
ear infection.
Yeah.
And I have to get him there, and I just walk him in. And
Yeah.
he would literally scream in pain.
And what age was he when?
He had 30-something ear infection. So,
Oh, my.
yeah, it was not good. But,
I mean, my boys have both had a lot of ear infections too. I don't know how many, but a lot.
yeah, he had 3 sets of tubes, which helped
Yeah,
him.
we had 3
And
sets of tubes,
tonsils.
tonsils and adenoids removed.
But after the tonsils, no
So
other.
much better.
No, never have had one since.
Really?
Yep. So, but I do, when you say that, I do remember times with him screaming, and I just always, referred that back to pain. But it also could be
It is a lot. It's discomfort,
yes.
frustration.
And he couldn't tell me I have my ears
Yeah.
hurt, Mom. I just knew.
How frustrating.
Yeah, and
You know?
he should have been at an age where he could tell me. So
Right.
the last ear infection I think was 4.
Yeah.
So he could have
Should have been
able to tell
say,
me.
Yeah.
So the frustration there too.
Oh.
So I can't imagine. But so when Owen has those meltdowns, what do you do?
Well, it depends on the level. No. I will say, and this was like such a lesson for us that was so hard to like ingrain in our minds and in our thinking, just the way that we handle him has to be completely the opposite of how he's acting. And this is, I'm preaching to the choir, like I'm preaching to myself here, but when your child is having a meltdown, you have to be there calm.
Yeah, you have to.
You have to be there calm. I mean, even just in general, I have to be Owen's calm.
Yeah,
Because-
absolutely.
And I mean, they don't perceive the world the way that we do. They pick up on sounds we don't pick up on. They pick up on light sensitivity.
The light could be too.
So many things that they're trying to process. And that's why, when we call it sensory processing disorder, well, is it, if you really think about that, is it really? Because if you have all these things coming at your senses, they're really just doing the best that they can do. But I will tell you, one of the hardest things for us was when Owen was a toddler, before he started ABA therapy and was having meltdowns due to frustration in that moment, and probably a little bit of pain, because he did have a lot of ear infections in his toddler years. He would melt down for what we felt was no reason, and at that time he would self-harm or hurt us. And we've talked about SIBs before on a podcast that we've done before, self-injurious behaviors, like he would hurt himself, hit himself in the head, or he had one specific place on his back that he would hit. I don't even know how he got back there, but he did it. And that was his spot, and he would just have bruises.
Oh my gosh.
And, of course, we get to him as soon as possible to try to keep him from hurting himself, usually getting ourselves hurt in the process. And in those moments, it's so hard to be calm, but that was the only thing that worked. And I know, like I've said before, we're not anti-spanking, but spanking does not work.
No, you can't whoop
With
the
him,
autism out of the child.
You cannot spank the autism, and that is like one of the worst things that you can do when they're in the middle of a meltdown.
Yeah.
Now, today, Owen has fewer meltdowns than he did when he was a toddler, and he has gained some mischievousness.
Uh-oh.
So he
Yeah.
like we don't really spank him, but like
You can tell he's
I
testing
can give
you.
him
Yeah,
a look,
he's still
and
a child.
Yes, and that is so important to recognize too, because I had a really close friend who knew that I would not get upset for them telling me this, so that don't think this doesn't sound as bad as what it was. But it was their first time to meet Owen, and when I saw them the next time, I said, "What did you think?" And she said, "He's a little spoiled." But listen, but I was like, okay, at first I was like,
girl,
wait, now what? Okay. But then I was like, okay, let me listen to what you have to say. But like, even though they're not, they're neurodivergent, they're not neurotypical, they still know.
Oh, they do. They can test you.
He knows how to be mischievous.
Oh, yeah.
And he knows how to like test me for sure. And he'll do things like if I say don't pick up that pen, he would be like,
Yep.
Just to see, how I respond. And in those moments, like he gets a look, and he might get a little spat.
Yeah.
But we don't. I mean, his behaviors that he has, if it's like we've learned over the course of the last 6 years of him having these behaviors, which ones are autism related and which ones are just him being a kid.
So
pushing the limits.
Can you sense a meltdown coming on and redirect him?
Usually Owen's that's a really good question for me to think about. Because usually Owen's meltdowns happen whenever he is showing signs of being super hyper. So if he's hyper and he's bouncing all over the place, then he's in that mindset, he's in that mode where any little thing could set him off.
So what do you do when he
chill,
gets too wound up? Do you put calming music on?
So music definitely helps him. Oh my gosh, I don't think I've said this before, so I'm repeating myself, but he takes so many showers and baths.
Oh yeah, water.
Yeah,
Yes.
water is so, and we are lucky enough to have a hot tub.
Yes.
And in the summer, a pool that he can get in. That if he's in water, he's golden.
Yeah.
Like
Oh,
he
yeah.
is, and he can swim all day. So like I've said before, we spend a lot of time at the lake, or in the pool, or in the hot tub, in the bath, in the shower, and water is like one of the number one things. And I will say, we've had to get used to, I used to like really want a tidy house and I still do want that.
Yeah.
But like, I've had to get really relaxed on stuff. Cause like even just him playing in water in the sink helps him.
Yeah. Oh
Just
yeah.
putting his hands in. If he can't get in the bath or the shower. But of course, when he does that, he does
everywhere.
It gets everywhere.
Yeah, because he's.
But I'm like, it's water.
Yeah.
You know,
It's not gonna hurt anything. Yeah.
If anything, like the other day, he had opened the shower door several times when he was in the shower, and I didn't know until, because when he's in the shower, I'll go across the hall and do laundry or whatever. I'm not right there with him. But when I went to get him out, he had like the floor was just covered in water, and I was like, well, I guess I needed to mop anyway. So here I am.
Tad does the same thing. So we turn on we have a little voice speaker that we put his iPad in the speaker, and
because he likes his music.
He wants his music jamming while he's showering. And like
we're
you
new
said,
to the iPad, and I need to make sure Owen has music on his iPad.
And so while he's doing that, that's when I put my clothes up, because our closets are right there. And I'll hear him push the door open. He'll get out. He'll get out there, change his music. There's water, everything. He gets back in.
No awareness
and he gets back in, and then he didn't like that one, so he's back out, and you can hear it changing, and I'm just like, water's everywhere.
So cute.
Or he'll get the thing off, and he's all... Yeah, but that's just, I mean, that, like you said, it's something that calms them. And
water, and like you said, music.
Yeah.
And a term that I had learned early on in ABA, when he was attending ABA, like probably 2 or 3 months into it, they kept referring to his preferred items. And I'm like, okay, well, figured what they were talking about was like the items that he likes the most, and it was
high reinforcers.
Yes, things that like he's motivated to get that item, so he's going to do what's being requested of him. So, and that sounds like you're rewarding them almost, but it's not. It's really it's redirecting. We do a lot of redirecting, and I feel like I've said this before too in another episode, but we do a lot of redirecting. So to answer your question, what helps when he's having those meltdowns, depending on where we are, if we're at home, I would say the number one thing is redirect, because even if you're going to get in the water or playing music, those are redirecting. Yeah. So we definitely redirect. The very first thing that you need to do when they're having a meltdown is to be as calm as possible. And we learned
that you
this
cannot reason with them when they're
there's no reasoning.
There's no reasoning, because people, if they just talk, you need to stop crying first. Stop crying. No, you can't.
And if I'm crying, I don't want somebody saying stop crying.
Yeah, you can't. But I know that
but I do
that's
want
your
that's
people
to me and being calm and loving toward me. That's what
but
I need.
it's your it's like a natural thing to be like, just calm down.
Yeah.
You know. No,
that does not work. That does not work.
But
redirecting does, and staying calm help. And it's so hard. When he was little, like I was telling you, when he was little, he would pinch, pull hair, bite. He doesn't do those things as much anymore. On occasion, he does. His favorite thing to do lately is to take your finger and try to bend it backward.
Oh yeah, Tad.
Fun times.
Yeah, Tad would do that to me.
So that's why both of my
he doesn't break my nails off
are gone, and they're split down the middle because he did that.
Yeah, and Tad is so like flexible.
So is Owen.
And so I'm like, my mom's hands don't do
mommy's
that.
hands don't do that.
Stop it.
His very favorite thing to do right now is bend your finger, and he thinks it's funny, even if he's not upset. He's like, "Oh, let me see if your fingers are flexible."
I think they're just fascinated with the body, maybe.
I guess, but I'm ready for that phase to be gone. But yeah, so redirecting preferred items. Like if Owens is like a basketball, we can't. I'm not kidding, because when he was a toddler through like age 6, every time anyone would ask, what do you want
you'd
for
say
Christmas or birthday, it was a basketball.
Yeah.
And so he has like 40 or 50 basketballs.
I believe it.
But we can't keep them in the house.
Right.
So
they're in big tubs,
They're
right?
in big tubs. They're in the basketball camp tubs in storage. That sounds horrible. Or we have one that he can play with outside.
Yeah.
But we have these little, I just found these on Amazon, and I actually bought a 12-pack of them, and we went ahead and blew them up. It comes with a little pump.
Yeah.
And just stuck them all in a box, and then I'm wrapping the box for Christmas. So when he opens it, it's just all the balls already blown up.
That.
Because if he opens it and he just sees packages of balls that aren't inflated, he's going to be like, okay.
Well, I'm going to tell a secret. Like for Tad, it's almost like they have, I don't know, I feel like he has to really play with a toy before he knows he really likes it.
Yeah.
And so we have done gifts for months in advance, play with them, so that way when he opens them up,
he's like,
oh, it's that toy, and he's so excited.
Yeah.
People don't understand that, but it's almost like they have to have an acquired taste for a toy.
Yes.
And now it's not that way because he's all into music, but the same way, like, he has to have that acquired. He has to hear that music.
Yeah.
And it's usually something I'm playing and then you can tell he likes it. So I download it to his iPad, and then that's where he gets his jams. But you've done that too, haven't you? Like you've done bought toys.
Almost everything that I got him for Christmas this last in December was something that he has played with before.
He knows it.
Yeah.
Familiar with it.
Did you do this with Tad? He has doubles of a lot of things.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't understand. I saved all his toys when he was little.
Yeah.
We probably have like 6 Elmos.
Yeah.
ABC Elmos.
Yeah.
And Handy Mannies. And I need to get those down. Those are probably worth a lot of money. I know.
Yeah, the Handy Mannies. Yeah, for sure. Carter was
Wonder
so into
Pets,
Handy Manny
Wonder
when he was
Pets.
little. Yeah.
But yeah.
But so keeping them calm by staying calm yourself. Like they feed off of our energy so much. Like
when you're stressed,
if I'm stressed, Owen feels it. And so it is literally like, it's been like my full-time job, don't you feel like, to just make sure you stay calm.
Yeah, and redirect all day long.
And I've learned so much about like keeping my peace. Because it just matters so much for them. And
you can tell a difference in their behavior, that's for sure. When your behavior is, even if you're not showing it, they can feel and sense everything that you were feeling.
Yep. And sometimes I think, that's why they get upset too or have meltdowns sometimes. Like maybe they're feeling something that we're not picking up on.
Yeah.
That
you don't even know that you're feeling.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But, and I mean, there's tons of research out there. I don't have any in front of me right now. I've read it before, and I know you have too, about why spankings don't work.
Yeah.
For children on the autism spectrum. Maybe we can find a few articles and post in the comments of this episode, but
I know we've both had instances where we've spanked, and I don't know about you, but I've literally cried thinking,
oh,
why did I do that? It did nothing for him but hurt him physically.
And early on, before he had his diagnosis or right after, when we didn't know.
Yeah.
But it literally just made the situation worse.
Absolutely.
Like the longer that goes on, he would just stay upset.
Yeah.
And I've heard of kids having like hours meltdown.
I know.
Like Owen's never had one that's lasted that long, but I mean, he's had some pretty big ones and it was rough. And I mean, that was another thing I wanted to talk about was the impact that it has on
caregivers.
Obviously the children, but the caregivers, the parents. I mean, it's really indescribable because it's like you feel like you are in battle all the time. And we've talked about this before too, but like when your child is attacking you and hurting themselves and you don't know what to do to stop it. And I will say this because like I said, Owen's 8 now, but like it's taken us the last 5 years to kind of like get our groove, and as he grows and evolves and learns new things and learns even how to be mischievous, we have to learn to detect that. And it's a constant battle to like, keep up with what they're thinking.
Oh yeah,
because they do grow and learn.
You're redirecting, you're protecting, if your kids have medication, then you're you're a therapist. You're never, the only time that you're not doing anything is if you are sleeping. Honestly,
right.
So when you say you're on a battlefield, you really are all day.
Yeah.
All day redirecting.
All
day. And protecting.
Say, and he's used to that because of ABA therapy.
Yes.
So,
but
that's
prior
so
to
important.
ABA, I'm telling you, we did have a lot of, it was struggles because we were just butting heads.
Yeah.
Over and over. And
I think the biggest thing too is like, you have to educate yourself. Then you have to educate the people who are around you the most, and then you kind of select who you're around.
Yeah, because they need to be on board as well, or it's not going to work.
Yeah, you can't have them go to grandparents' house and them not understand that spanking isn't going to help. And so, I mean, I know you and I are both very like blessed that we have that support group on both sides of our family, and a lot of people don't have that. But if you have to, what matters is your child, and you redirect them and, use the preferred items, staying calm. Spankings do not work.
Nope.
For a child on the spectrum.
When you talk about preferred items, I get tickled because one of Tad's preferred items was those Black Forest gummies. Just a gummy. And you know how hard he would work for one gummy? One gummy, and he has a whole package to work for, but it works. It's still to this day he'll work hard for a gummy. Yeah, and most of the time it's his iPad. That was his highest one reinforcer. He'll jump.
I'm so excited that we're on the tablet now.
Yeah, and you're getting speech like prolo.
We have that.
Okay,
yeah, and so we're all learning
that.
How to work that together.
Yeah, that's good.
So that's nice. Yeah.
That. He will have a voice, and that's you'll see a difference in him, an independence in him.
Yeah. Let's talk about, here coming up in just a second, let's talk about redirecting and preferred items, and I do want to talk about using devices and how that can be helpful.
Okay. Yeah, let's go.
Okay.
Right after the break. This podcast has been brought to you by Wolf Chiropractic. Tad has been seeing Dr. Wolf for many years now. We believe that chiropractic care has helped with his sensory issues, pain relief, healed his scoliosis, and gives him an overall sense of well-being. Best of all, the staff works with us to ensure we never have to wait. We are in and out very quickly. For all your chiropractic needs, give Wolf Chiropractic a call at 580-931-3343. He'll get you all lined out.
Does your child need speech therapy, physical therapy, or occupational therapy? Visit thespottexoma.com to schedule an appointment today. The Spot provides speech, occupational, and physical therapy services to children and adults in the Texoma region. They operate with a patient-centered approach paired with parent and family involvement and training. They are eager to help you and your child build communication skills that will last a lifetime. So call 580-740-0205 or visit thespottexoma.com. Listen, my carpets used to be a struggle to keep clean. Between 2 boys and 2 fur babies, I was always cleaning up spills and stains. Then I found Ray at ChemDry. And basically, I've had him on speed dial ever since. So when you need your carpets, furniture, or even hardwood floors cleaned, call or even text ChemDry at 903-815-5811. Ray will get you all cleaned up.
We all need to take care of our teeth, and it can be extremely difficult for children with unique needs to care for their teeth due to the sensory issues. Dr. Taylor Markham and the team at Westside Family Dentistry can ensure you and your child's teeth are in tip-top shape. Give them a call at 580-924-1234 today to schedule your next appointment. CLC Fencing and Welding builds quality, affordable buildings and miscellaneous structures. From beautiful barn-dominiums to shop buildings and rustic cedar, wood, or iron fencing, they can do it all. We personally use them for all our fencing and welding needs. CLC Fencing and Welding serves Grayson, Fannin, Collin, and Bryan County areas. So if you're in the hunt for a great welder, give our friends at CLC Welding a call at 903-436-3888.
Founded, owned, and operated by nurses, Angels of Care Pediatric Home Health's clients are at the heart of everything they do. Proudly serving the medically fragile community since 2000, Angels of Care offers private duty nursing services, speech, physical, and occupational therapies, and respite care across the nation. We are also happy to announce we have started offering ABA services in Colorado. Please visit angelsofcare.com or call 855-45-ANGEL for more information. Get your halos on.
If you've been in an automobile accident or have vehicle damage, S&L Collision Center is the body shop to call for all your auto body repair needs. Larry Hallmark and family have been in business for many years. They are honest and do exceptional work. I have had all of my vehicles repaired by them and have always been satisfied with their work. So if you're in the need for auto body repair, call S&L Collision Center at 580-924-5958. Welcome back.
Welcome back. So we were talking about meltdowns, of course, and how horrific they can be, not only for the child, but for the parents as well, caretakers. It just takes a toll on you. And I think another thing is that's why we sort of like don't take our kids places, because we worry about, we don't know when they're going to have one sometimes. Yeah. So if we're sitting at dinner, there's been times where we've taken Owen out to eat, very few times, where we've gone out to eat as a family, and he's been an angel. And we're just looking at each other like, when's it going to happen? Is this real life right now? Is it about to change? And you don't want to say anything because you don't want to like jinx it. But
does he like praise, like whenever instances happen like that? Like all we have to do is like, Tad, you are being so good. And he's just like being like,
oh my god.
But ABA, I feel like it eventually gets to that point where just a praise.
Don't forget, I want to talk about that for a minute.
Okay, go ahead.
Because
That's a goal. That's a goal to work for just praise.
We just learned that, like, just in the last 6 months, that was a huge reinforcer for Owen. Positive praise.
Yes.
And he does get it a lot at ABA therapy, and he always has. But just in the last 6 months, we've seen how much he thrives on it.
Yeah.
Like, for anything. So you'll hear a lot of us, like, every time he goes pee-pee in the potty, even though he's been pee-peeing in the potty for 3 years now.
But you have to continue that praise. Yeah.
But so when we moved, he started having accidents. And we were like, what is going on? Like, we knew we moved, but we're like, he adjusted to the move so incredibly well.
But
I thought,
different.
But everything was different.
Toilets in different areas. Yeah.
And so he was having accidents. And I mean, I'm talking, he had gone months or years without having daytime accidents. And so it was just really disheartening. So we've gotten him pretty much back on track. But one of the ways that we've done it is when he goes to pee-pee in the potty, we're like, oh my goodness. And it's funny because, I say you have to be there calm. Yeah. So he actually also doesn't like it when you are
say
loud.
Yay! Yeah.
So I have to say, oh my goodness, I'm so excited you pee-peed in the potty. And sometimes he'll grin.
Yeah, I love it.
Like, he knows.
Just taking it all in.
Yeah. And to tell you, that goes such a long way. Like, telling him if he's being good in the moment.
Yeah,
just like, oh
praising
my gosh,
him.
I am so proud of the way you're acting right now. You are being so good. And he's just like,
Yeah. But I feel like
that. I
feel like, honestly,
it goes a long way with me.
Well, yeah, any human's gonna like a positive praise.
Yeah,
but I do feel like that's an ABA goal, all-time goal, is that to get something done or have them initially do it on their own and give them a positive praise. Yeah. And not give them a actual
rewards and positive praise.
Yeah.
But but positive praise is because it helps them with their confidence too. So just like redirecting, staying calm, preferred items, and positive praise. Those are the 4 steps for us. And again, I'm not saying
it works for everybody.
We're not saying we have all the answers.
Yeah. But yours might be different steps, but these are what work for you.
And I know that there are kids that have meltdowns who are inconsolable, for whatever reason. And, it doesn't have anything to do necessarily with the severity of their autism. It just...
Something
set them off.
Yep.
And maybe, like you said with Tad, it's...
physical pain
or something that they just really need to relay to you, and they're not able to do that. So I know that I had a couple of weeks ago, and I had texted you to let you know because it was a new situation for me. But one of the things that we do with the Owen Foundation is we just want to be like a support for our autism community in the Texoma area. So I was actually called about a mother who needed support. And of course they had to ask her if it was okay to even contact me. But it was about 9:30 or 10 o'clock at night.
It was actually after we just had aired the last podcast.
Okay, so
session, because you were driving home.
Yeah, I was driving home,
and I had already made it home
from recording, and was called to come sit with a lady at the hospital, and her son was in the hospital, and they had brought him. Well, they had called 911. And her son was 14, I think. He was 14. And the mom had actually called 911 herself because her son had physically hurt her so bad, and she wasn't able to get him to stop.
From a meltdown.
And I went up to the hospital at 10 or 10:30 that night to to just be a support for her. And they had been there since noon, and he was still, they couldn't sedate him, but they could give him, he was already on clonidine before he went in. So they were able to give him his clonidine earlier in the day to help calm him down, and he slept for 2 hours. And
But they did have him restrained.
they had to, because he was hurting himself. And it's really crazy the way our system works, because they weren't able to really do anything for them.
Right.
They weren't able to sedate him.
Mm-mm. And I don't understand that.
They weren't able to transfer him to any sort of
Like mental facility.
Children's in Dallas, they weren't able to accept a transfer from the hospital he was in to Dallas Children's. And they said that if the mom were to leave with him
and drive him to
Children's, that they could take him and then they could get him placed somewhere. But if she were to leave that hospital with him the way he was, that they would have to get CPS involved.
It's just like her hands were tied.
So how do you even, I mean, first of all, for the mom, I can't imagine how she must have felt having to call 911 on her own son. Like, how devastating that must have been for her.
Thing with things I've read in the news in the past, for calls like that, they don't always turn out well if the officers are not aware of the situation.
And that they said that they thought that was probably why he was so upset when he got to the hospital. I mean, obviously he was already upset, or they wouldn't have had to call 911.
Right.
But, you know, and the officers were just doing their job. But at the same time, like, and there was also a language barrier, I do believe. But at the same time, it's like, if he has autism, how do you handle that in a way where you're keeping everybody safe, but you're also keeping that child safe?
Right.
And I know he's 14. He's the size of a grown man, but he's still a kid.
Right.
Well under 18.
But there has been instances where that didn't turn out so well.
Right.
And that person that they called for, you know, it was tragic.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
that's
I've heard
what's so
stories
scary.
about that. And there's stories of, like, and this probably needs to be a whole other episode, but like where people are, you know, aged out, I guess, and maybe they don't have a caretaker somehow, and maybe they're homeless or whatever, but they get, you know, arrested or even shot and killed for acting different. Yeah. Doing something that where they appeared that they were putting others in danger, or maybe they were.
Yeah, or themselves.
But it was behavioral. Yeah. Because, you know, a 45-year-old man who has severe autism may function as a toddler.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So are they actually responsible? You know, somebody needs to be responsible for that person, but who?
Right.
You know?
That's a whole nother...
That is a whole other episode, because then we talk about long-term care.
Yeah, we do need to talk about that on a podcast. We need to write that down.
Yes, long-term care.
So I remember when I got that text from you, y'all, my heart just broke, because all the things came running through my mind. Of course, I immediately stopped and I prayed for you and the mom and the child, because I can't even imagine. Like,
it was like,
I can't even imagine.
When I got there,
that's your child. You have to call.
And he was down the hall quite a ways.
And
but as soon as I could hear him every 20, 30 seconds letting out this scream.
You said a horrid scream. It was just
awful. And his mom was literally to the point where she was just like, I expected this crying. Yeah. You know, she was just glazed over.
She's been there since noon.
She's just glazed over.
Didn't, you know, I've no telling what happened during, how long it went on prior to her calling. I mean, I'm sure that was her last resort, was to call 911. That was because I'm sure it was.
Yeah, so apparently he had hurt her, and then her husband got home from work and he hurt him as well. And maybe some other family members, I'm not sure.
Just trying to control the situation.
Yeah.
And then, like, how long, like, I did I knew some nurses, so I started texting them, like, what do you do in this situation? Yeah. And we both know who we were texting, and she would tell us the protocol, but she was like, unfortunately, the system is so messed up.
It is.
He could stay in that hospital just like he is for a week or longer.
Yeah.
Because they cannot get him in anywhere.
Well, and I didn't understand why they weren't able to sedate him. Because
he should have been, from what I was told, maybe, but I don't know the reason.
I don't know either. And
maybe there's a medical reason behind it.
Maybe.
He had some medical.
But to me, like, that's, as a mom of a kid on the spectrum, I'm just picturing Owen at that age. That it's almost like torturous, and I hate to use that word because I know that wasn't their intentions, and the nurses I spoke to were
so helpful,
devastated.
They wanted help.
They wanted to help him so much. I mean, everyone was doing
what they knew to do
legally and ethically, what the best that they could do, but the system's broken.
That needs to be fixed.
There almost needs to be, like, as prevalent as autism is, it's almost like there needs to be like a
protocol,
a behavioral ER type situation, for children, not just adults, for children, because they don't know how to regulate themselves in situations like
or self-soothe,
and we can only do so much. There are certain situations where we can only do so much, and like I said, I mean, I know some situations are more severe than others, but I mean, that one got me.
I'm so sorry you had to do that, but I also am so thankful for the Owen Foundation and stepping up and doing things like that to help the community.
We've had to do anything like that. That's the first time. And I always say, like, the Owen Foundation doesn't exist because I thought, hey, I know everything about autism, and so everybody comes to me.
Even there to pray with that mom. I mean,
but it's like when we experience things like that, we get to learn about it. And so it's like, okay, that's another experience I've got under my belt, and I can learn from it.
And what can we do to make it better?
What can we do to make it better? And then now when I encounter that again, we've kind of got a protocol for it.
Yeah.
So it's that we're here to learn as much as we can, and whether that be from our followers, our board members, or other parents in the community, and then also know our resources. If somebody comes to me with a question, then that's what we try to do, find their answer. Again, that's something that we can put under our belt that we've experienced, and so the next time someone comes with that question, we've got an answer because we've experienced that before.
Well, and what's crazy, like our Mighty Moms little pot coffee meetings, that's how I met with this nurse. I wouldn't even known, but she's the first person, like, she would understand. I could get help from her to give to you. And immediately she responded because her heart is there. She knows. And she knows she works in that field. And so we knew things to tell you to and to try, but there wasn't anything to do.
There wasn't anything to do, and that's a whole other episode. We've got to
fix that.
The long-term care and like a behavioral
emergency care.
And I was telling my husband when I got home, I was like, there really needs to be like an emergent facility for even when you just get insanely overwhelmed.
Well,
do you know what I mean?
Well, what was the last post? Remember did you see that little girl that the mom had just dropped her off at the hospital ER? She's autistic, nonverbal.
Yes, we both shared it. And this was close to home.
Yeah, this was in Texas.
And a little 6-year-old girl was dropped off at the ER by her mom. And I know a lot of people who don't have experience with autism are like, how could she do that?
Well, I understand. Like,
I mean,
I'm glad she did that and not anything else.
Hurt her
or left her alone.
Yes.
But she did the safest thing she thought she could do.
Exactly. I see a desperate mom. Not knowing what else to do, and I'm not saying I would ever do that with Owen, but I'm saying
she had no support. We don't know. We're just assuming, but I could see that played out when I read that first, saying that mom was overwhelmed. She didn't know what to do. And so she did that.
And they did end up finding her parents.
They did?
I read that.
Didn't know.
But hopefully they got help and, were able to get some. And a lot of people don't know you can get respite.
Yeah.
You can get respite.
Insurance
and I've never done it before, so I don't know how it works.
Cover that.
But if you have insurance, call your insurance provider and see,
Yeah.
do you cover respite for behavioral health? Because most of them will. But that,
And we talked about that in a podcast previously, the respite care and how you can hire out for respite care. I'm not sure how that. Well, you know how.
well, no, because we did it and we paid for it. But from what I understand, you can get reimbursed for.
Okay, so what you would do?
I
Is,
don't know if that person has to have any credentials. We probably need to find that out.
I'm sure they would.
Like to be a registered
RBT.
behavior technician or a BCBA or something along those lines. I don't know if they have to be. I know for us we wanted it to be because we wanted whoever Owen stayed with to know how to handle him.
Yeah.
So
We'll research that and see and post that in the comments because I really want to know about that too.
definitely so meltdowns. Tell us about your
Yeah.
tell us about your kids' meltdowns. I know Owen has had, countless. So, but yeah, I'm gonna stick to that. Tried and true for him is just staying calm, because doing
It's
the
very
opposite,
important.
doing the opposite
Yeah.
does not work. And so staying calm, redirecting. Always having like a preferred item. Like I said, for him, it's his basketball. Those little squishy ones that we just got are great because he can't break things in the house.
Right.
And then positive praise. And when that doesn't work, that's a whole other episode.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Well, we appreciate y'all joining us today. And be sure to share on all of our social platforms.
and send us your comments.
Yeah, comments and our mighty.
or your topic ideas.
Yeah, we need some topic
Yeah,
ideas.
send us some
We're gonna
topic
have some more
ideas.
guests, but we also will have our little time with just us. So,
Yep.
but we have some new Mighty merch coming out. This is just one shirt.
Cute shirts.
We've got quite a bit, so be looking for those as well. And I guess that is
We'll
that's
see you
a
next
wrap.
time. We'll see you next time.
Thank y'all. Bye.
Okay, Mighty Moms, we're signing off.
Connect with us on our Mighty Moms socials, submit your topic ideas, and share it all.
Follow us at Mighty Moms Podcast on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube.
Also, visit our website at mightymomspodcast.com. And remember,
Together,
we are a worldwide cult of Mighty Moms. Chicka boom boom.